Oops. We are ready to go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Board of Education meeting on October 3rd. If we could please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Grigsby, Mrs. McCarthy,
Here.
Mrs. Saxon,
Here.
Mrs. Tamira,
Here.
Mr. Vaca.
Finalization of the agenda. Is there anything to add or delete?
The agenda is final as presented.
Thank you. Now's the time of hearing of the public. If there's anyone that would like to speak to the board, now is your opportunity. Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. No education, policy, or communicate, or we do have communications report. Mrs. Tamira.
Thank you. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following gifts with appreciation. $1,452.35 was donated to NRACPTO boosters to purchase PBIS store prizes for students at the North Ridgeville Academic Center. Monetary donation of $667 was donated by NRHS band boosters to go towards the prom committee. One gently used trombone musical instrument was donated by Karinessa Ottinger to the Ranger High Tech Academy. Miscellaneous school supplies were donated by Crystal Hassoun to the Ranger High Tech Academy. Miscellaneous school supplies and office supplies were donated by Kathy Recker to the Ranger High Tech Academy. Miscellaneous toys and treasure box prizes were donated by Marcus Hunt to the Early Childhood Learning Community. Miscellaneous school supplies were donated by Lisa Stefani to the Early Childhood Learning Community. Miscellaneous school supplies were donated by Christina Ice to the Early Childhood Learning Community. Miscellaneous school supplies and treasure box prizes were donated by Ashley Novak to the Early Childhood Learning Community. Miscellaneous toys and prizes were donated by Kelsey Smith to the Early Childhood Learning Community. Miscellaneous school supplies were donated to NRHS men's soccer boosters to the North Ridgeville City Schools to be used as needed by students. This concludes our communications report.
Thank you, Mrs. Tamira. I will move on to the Human Resources report. We have a couple of items in the Human Resources report, 2 NREA supplemental contracts. This is the first reading for these items. The second reading and consideration for approval will be at the October 18th regular meeting. This concludes the Human Resource report. And then we will move on to other board business, the Human Resources report. We have 2 support staff substitute contracts, 1 support staff appointment, 1 unpaid volunteer recognition. I move to approve the Human Resources report in 1 reading.
Second.
Moved by myself, seconded by Mrs. Tamira. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby, Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
It is recommended that the Board of Education adjourn this regular meeting.
Moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Tamira, seconded by Mrs. McCarthy. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby, Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Thank you very much, everybody.
604.
6:04.
6:04.